I think what I'd say about that is that, one, primarily you would realize that people talk less about those who do the killing. People just try to call them Boko Haram, try to call them kidnappers, try to call them bandits, and try to tell you it happens here and here and here. So it has nothing to do with religion and all of that. The people doing the killing are primarily, or I'd say 100% Muslims. All of them subscribe to the belief that they have a responsibility to implement Sharia full scale. Boko Haram, for instance, that is stronger in the Northeast, when it came out, it made its case clear. They didn't subscribe, or they did not believe in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which is secular. What they want is a full implementation of Sharia. And clearly you would understand that even a conventional army would launch its campaign from its position of strength. So it would be unlikely for Boko Haram to go to any part where there would be so many Christians and all of that. It would localize itself where it's, where it has base, and it believes a lot of people would be sympathetic to it. It was localized, it was contained in the Northeast for quite a while. But from 2015, we had change of guards. A new president came in, a new president that was quoted at some point saying the fight against the terrorist group Boko Haram was unfair to the northern part of the country, the Muslim northern part of the country. He emerged the president, a president that once that same Islamist group Boko Haram named him as a go-between, their negotiator in their deals with the government, even though he declined, that position. But whatever credentials they felt he had that qualified him for that position, they nominated him to speak on their behalf. So that basically, once he came into power, the next thing we had was a proliferation of Islamist group. But prior to his ascension into office, the previous government had already proscribed Boko Haram. Now, the mission is expansionist, is jihadist in nature. And that is the reason why every other group that sprang up from Boko Haram and extended inwards down to the northwestern part of the country, down to the middle belt of central Nigeria, and operating down south, all took different names, different nomenclatures. For example, they called them kidnappers in certain parts. In other parts, in the middle belt earlier on, they began referring to them as unknown gunmen. But it became obvious they understood, especially the ethnicity and the religion they were from. And, the story changed from unknown gunmen to farmer header clash and all of that. So people don't spend time looking at those doing the killings. They are Muslims, they are Islamists. They are the same group. I think I'd share a video with you. You might or might not have come across it, of a man who is late now, died under curious circumstances, when he made it clear to people that Boko Haram, that Islamist group, and the rest of the groups that have been labeled as kidnappers, as bandits, as armed herdsmen, they are all the same, pursuing the same agenda.
And the truth. And let me make some revelations, because some of us also have our own intelligence networks.
Okay.
Have met with some of the bandits. We have met with some of their high commanders. One or two who have repented. They have sat down with us, not once, not twice. They told us that one of the northern governors is the commander of Boko Haram in Nigeria. Boko Haram and the bandits are one and the same thing. They have a sophisticated network. During this lockdown, their planes were moving up and down as though there was no lockdown, moving ammunitions, moving logistics, moving money, and distributing them in different parts of the country. They're already in the south, in the rainforest of the south. They're everywhere. They told us that when they finish these rural killings, they will move to phase 2. The phase 2 is they will go into the urban cities, going from house to house, killing prominent people. I can tell you, this is the game plan. By 2022, they want to start a civil war in Nigeria. Don't joke with what I'm saying. I have a PhD from Oxford University. I'm a central banker. We don't talk nonsense. So don't joke with what I'm telling you. I have this from the highest possible authority, higher authorities of some of the commanders of the killers.
So the narrative that killings happen in the Northeast, killings happens in the Northwest, and it happens in the Middle Belt, so it's got nothing to do with religion. It's a narrative of the Islamists, okay?
Right.
It's a narrative of the Islamists. So to give you an idea that they are actually spread everywhere, it has nothing to do with Christians. Well, primarily, if you would ask yourself, an Islamist, what is his mission? Is it to live in peace with people or to annihilate the infidels? Primarily, it's to annihilate the infidels. But in the course of doing so, we understand there are collateral damage. It's not every Muslim that subscribes to that ideology. That's one. And whoever sustains them, they also run out of resources and they would have to devise means to survive, even if it means speaking on Muslims. So that primarily is what happens. And then secondly, the people advancing these narratives, you hardly find them speaking about them until the Christians say there is a genocide. And then they come around to say, well, it happens in other parts of the country, but they don't complain when it happens. So the whole narrative is to suppress the idea that there is Christian genocide. That basically is what I have to say to that. Sorry I took long to explain that.
No, it's okay. No, you need to explain it because that's what's going on. I mean, the reality is that in Islam, it is it's totalitarian, that is true, but it's also one of expansionism and conquering. And so the way that that happens is through violence. I mean, if we look at 14 years of history in Islam, the way that Islam has primarily spread is through jihad, and a lot of that has been violent. So that's exactly what's happening in Nigeria. And, Christians are the primary target, as you have said.